End up start to fornicate me while me in church. Me end up a fornicate in church. My name is Phang, and this is my testimony of my journey from darkness to light. The struggle I faced being a Christian. One of the first struggles where I faced in church, was peer pressure. And there's a lot of young Christian, new convert face them thing in life, Peer pressure from friend, peer pressure from enemy, and also peer pressure from Christian as well. So one of the first peer pressure I end up facing was people always think say we're just going to church because of woman and all of that, Me I play around church, but my mind did make up for say me I go serve God, And we'd always tell myself this. There's nothing I can do in life where I gonna make me backslide. So me always tell myself that, me always encourage myself, say, I'm not gonna backslide. Because when I come from there's a lot of backslider, I'm say I'm not gonna really join the team. So me always tell myself, say, Andre, I'm not gonna backslide, I'm not gonna really make nobody laugh off of me. And say me I take God thing for a joking thing and all of that. So me always make up my mind. So I end up coming under a lot of pressure from friends, and me on a whole, I can't take pressure, So I end up start to do the things where the enemy want me to do. I end up start to fornicate me while me in church. Me end up a fornicate in church, Me end up start talk back to my ex and all of that. Me end up do the things that the enemy did want me to do. But I always remember this. This is how I always know. In every sin what we do in life, there's a consequence behind it. In every sin. So meanwhile I was living in sin, God did a try to pull me out at one point, but yet still I want to do it. So the last time I ended up fornicating, it was really devastating because spiritually and physically it ended up mash up my life, and that is when I end up feeling the wrath of God. So as I said the last time I end up fornicate, I end up feel the wrath of God because I never listen. I never listen to God, and from me not listen, you're gonna feel it. You understand? As the old people always say, who no ear must feel, so I end up feeling the wrath. I end up fornicate with this young lady where was a bisexual, and it ended up damaging my life spiritually and physically because at the time when I about to fornicate with her, she called my phone, and first I end up meet her. I end up meet her at my workplace, And one of the first mistake I end up make exchange number. That was one of the first mistake I end up make. When I give her my number and take her number. And we end up start text, it start from a text to a call, So we always start texting, she take me good morning, text her back good morning, and we end up start talk, and our friendship end up start grow. So one day she called me now and she said to me, say, Angie, I'm sick. Say if you did sick, I come look for you because I think she was friend, and I say alright. She used that for me, so I say alright, I go look for her, and I end up call her and tell her, say, I come around our yard. So when I end up reach in our community, my friend end up calling me and say, Angie, where there? I'm tell her, say, say I go pray for somebody. But that was the escape God did make for me. And me never take heed to it. And she say, you want me to come? I say, no man, me go by myself. And we must always remember this. When God was sending out the apostles, He send them by two. He never send them by themselves. So I end up going in our yard and end up in our house. one of the first things the enemy used for me was the environment. I end up get comfortable. When the Bible said the enemy is like a roaring lion, seeking who he may devour. If you're in a jungle, you can't get comfortable if the lion are gonna eat you. So I end up get comfortable in the environment because our house clean and she have TV on wall and all of that, you know. So our house really set really good. So I end up get comfortable in our house. So I remember she was feeling pain at that time. At that point, she was feeling pain and she started crying in front of me. So the enemy started playing my feelings, you know. So I end up feeling sorry for her as well, and I end up start praying for her in the house because she was feeling pain, you know. So at that point, my friend called me. This was my other friend called me and him say, I answer the phone and him say, Angie, you know, my daughter them a ring on the phone. And I say, oh, alright then. So as a youth and with their Sunday school, I always learn this song. Watch your eye, what you see. So I end up have a phone and I end up going on phone and I end up start see certain things but I not see. So my eye start look on certain things but I'm not supposed to see as a Christian. So I start talk to her, I start encourage her, and I say to her, say, why she have them things in her phone? Delete them, you know, and she start delete them out of her phone and delete, she have some slack things in her phone and she start delete them and all of that. So I feel at one point say something happen and I end up get up off out of the couch and I tell her say I have to go in because something alright. God start talk to me and say, Angie, you have to leave, you know. And she said, so why you go so fast? You're not even spend 10 minutes around here. So I end up saying, alright, I'm going to stay. I'm going to stay for another 5 minutes. And I end up put the TV on a gospel channel, you know, and all of that. And me and her start talking in the house. I start encourage her at one point, you know, and tell her, say, yo, she need deliverance. You know, she need to come out a certain thing, so come out a certain lifestyle and all of that. And I remember she said to me, she said something to me. You know, she said me I'm one of the first youth she'd engaged to. And that just blew my mind. From she said that to me, it just blew my mind. And it ended up bringing a feelings with me and her. It ended up bringing that feelings, you know, and me in the house and me and her in there talk, and God constantly talk to me, so I need to leave. And so she ended up get up off of the bed and end up start walking at the house, and she said something to me again and she said, Andrew, don't come near me. And you know, I end up going near her, and that is how I end up falling fornication. That was the last time I end up fornicate, and that was it. I end up feel the wrath of God because I end up start go through some spiritual warfare. You know, I end up go through some really rough time with spirits, succubus demons, you know, and all kind of spirits start to attack me in my vision. I end up get sleepless nights and all of that. You know, one time, I wonder if I go crazy in my mind. You know, I call my friend, my same friend really that call me. At first, I call her and I tell her, say, you know, I just feel like God must take me right now because I'm tired to go through this thing. You know, I'm tired to go through the warfare. You know, demon attack me night to night. Demon attack me. I can't sleep. You know, till I have to get radical one day. And I start anointing my house, you know, I start anointing my window, I start look up on warfare, you know. I think I start go up on YouTube and start watch this minister when named Joshua. I start watching him and him start teach a warfare battle, you know, how to fight warfare. God start teach me as well how to fight the warfare, you know. A lot of demons start attack me, you know, woman demon, you know, start attack me in my vision, you know. So it start mash me up mentally, it start work on my mind. And I say, God, I can't go through it. So when I end up fornicating, the next day I end up I go to church, you know, and the enemy start talking to me and say, why am I go to church? And I just fornicate. You know, I'm just determined to say, you know, I go to church same no matter what, because I always fulfill my promise. And that is what I tell God. I say, God, I'm not going to backslide. So the enemy did a try to stay home because he want to play my mind, and say he's a sinner. So me don't need to go church, me don't need to serve God. And this happened when me a grow in Christ, me dep on ministry, me dep on outreach ministry, me a preach as well. You understand? Me a go out there as well. I end up at one point I end up get a call to for minister at Eden Dalton to a man conference. So as I'm say I was growing in ministry at that point when me end up fornicating. So the enemy did that try to cheat me and say I don't need to go to church no more because I just sin. So I don't need to go to church. But I end up determined, so I end up go church, and when we reach in the church, end up feel down, me end up feel away, me end up feel joy, me end up feel like me not worthy for serve God no more because I just sin, and me never be obedient to the word of God, and me never be obedient to God as well. But so God, if I saw it be, I just saw. You understand me? I say, I still a come church, no matter what. But God never give up on me. Even during the rough time, God never give up on me. So I end up having to face the battle by myself. Even God allowed it for me because He did not talk to me, I never hear. You understand? And there's no sin will be removed without a consequence. So I end up having to face the consequence. I end up facing, But meanwhile, I was facing the consequence. I was learning how to fight sexual warfare. I learned how to fight spiritual warfare. So I anoint my house and anoint my window, anoint my bed, I start separate my clothes them from my family clothes them. My mother start wash my clothes them by herself, That is how the warfare, I end up gotta teach me warfare. Me have to get new underpants, get new clothes, me have to change out my jaw, buy up some new things. But I end up still go through the warfare, I end up still go through the fire. But God has brought me out. So going through that sexual warfare was not easy. Was not easy. So after God delivered me from that struggle, I end up involved in another sexual struggle, which I end up start involved in masturbation, and that is when that bring a really rough time to my life when I end up start involved in masturbation, because I did involve in a relationship with a young lady that overseas. So I end up start masturbate because I say me don't want to fornicate again. For go through such a rough time, but that is what the enemy are telling me. Me not have to fornicate. I can't just masturbate. So the enemy just tell me that. But it end up still a sin, and me end up never feel comfortable. You understand? The same way me never end up feel comfortable, and I end up start to open doors back to the enemy. So I end up start face back the same warfare me that faced before. I end up start face back again, because I open up sexual doors to the enemy. So it bring a toll to my life, and the dark cloud end up start come over my life again. I end up start face spiritual warfare, physical warfare me I face, but it was not that easy to me. But I start questioning God and I say, God, what I can do for you, deliver me from this. So I start talk to my best friend, I start talk to her, and she said, Andre, you need to find help. But whenever I did just want to talk to anybody about this thing, because people even though they say they're Christian, they will still judge you. You understand? So whenever I really want to talk to anybody about this struggle with me I face. So I pray about it, I fast about it, and I end up say, God, we need to talk to somebody. I talk to people about it, but we never got that word when we did really want to impact my spirit and for me to press towards the prize of the mark of my high calling in Christ. So I end up pray about it, and God ended up showing me who I can talk to about it. So I end up calling the minister and him say, Andre, yeah man, anytime you want me to talk, we can link man. We just find a nice place to go and we sit down and talk. So I end up calling him and we end up setting dates and then him end up go Gloria's. Yeah, we end up book Gloria's. So we set the date and then him end up go Gloria's and we eat 2 fish. Then him did that talk and end up start tell him the struggle me I face, you know? Because it really did that bring something to my life where I might be end up lose my faith. So when him end up start talk, I'm gonna start opening up to him. You know, I'm gonna tell him everything what me I go through. You know, everything what me I go through. The sexual warfare that me I face. You know, the struggle what me I face. So he end up start talk to me, you know, encourage me and start opening up to me. So the good thing about it, him open up to me and me open up to him. So I never forget. There's 2 things him encourage me. There's 2 words him said to me when never come out of my head. Him said to me, say, Andre, you have to just get serious about this. You have to get serious about this. And he said one another word to me. He said, Andre, you have to love God over sin. And that is when I get my deliverance. When him said to me, say, Andre, you have to love God over sin. You have to let go of the world. And I end up after that in my mind. Every time when I try to sin, you know, that word of encouragement always come to me. You know, Andre, you have to love God over sin. And that is when I get my breakthrough. When I make a talk with the minister. So, don't sit down in your sin. It don't make no sense to sit down in your sin because it's not gonna make you be a better person. You understand? Find somebody to talk to. Find a minister to talk to. Find somebody where you trust. You understand? Ask God to lead you to that right person for your talk about the struggle you face. So that is my struggle I face. And God brought me through, and He will bring you through as well. So God has delivered me from the struggle I face. So I want you all to watch episode 5, which is the word of encouragement. God bless.